Janice Harris.
I have been with the university in the English department, retired in '08, and then now I'm back just teaching a single course, Introduction to Japanese Literature. My husband, also in the English department, is a Shakespearean. Adored the house is because you can walk to campus. It really is hybrid. It's a flock of elements. It was built in 1916. I've heard, and it makes sense to me in all kinds of ways, that it was a Sears Roebuck house. And so the by whom is sort of a sense of a time period almost. I've seen the Sears Roebuck history of these packages you bought from a catalog, and you get like a street in Illinois, and there are like 5 houses built from the Sears catalog. And it seems pretty likely to me that that's where this gets a lot of its elements. And of course, the Sears catalog was playing with all kinds of style motifs that were interesting at the time period. And then your own local builders and contractors and architects would have put it together. The Queen Anne can relate to the diaper and diamond style of the shingle, and that is on the west side of the house and the south side of the house, which would be more publicly viewed, not on the east and not on the north, and thinking, well, maybe they just for expense reasons went to something simpler, but also it's less visible. Stick style, and that would have to do with the way the gables are demarcated with a pair of verticals. And one of the things the stick style does is echo the interior frame. So the ways the gables have a split pediment is saying, if you go inside, you will see how we're making the outside echo the inside. So if you're looking at the house from the exterior and trying to think what is original, what has been here, the porch, the Doric columns, the shingles. As you're walking down the south side of the house, you'll see a bay window, and according, I guess, to art historical terms, that's an oval bay window, which must mean that the whole shape has a kind of a, and I think I don't know that would come to my mind, but if you notice that the windows, say all along the south, are just a very functional rectangular window, except for the dining room, which has this beautiful bay, and since it's southern, the sun just pours in. And those leaded glass tops, both on that dining room window and on the living room window and on the porch window, they're all original. Maybe in the 30s or 40s, I'm just not sure, is take that original square living room and move it out about, I'm guessing, 10 feet? Something like that. So now what we have is a rectangular living room, a very generous size, with a fireplace, but they kept that window and just beautifully, moved it right on out. We, at a certain point, it really needed a paint job, and so we went with what is called buff and maize. And we've just loved it. It just feels so warm. Maybe there have been 3 long-term, or really 2 long-term families living here.
The original owners of the home were Mary and Edward Palmquists. They sold the house in 1937 to Albert and Arlene McConnell, and they lived there until 1968.
Opened the basement to students as a kind of boarding house. Like a lot of old homes, they didn't start changing everything in order to make it a boarding house. I think that students pretty much, maybe had a kind of a dorm style, and then they came up and had free access to the kitchen. Famous gardener, I'm guessing she had the time to be working. And if I understood Janice's story right, he may have worked for the railroad. And if I didn't understand it right, it would be the grandfather who had. But I think she recalled very much sitting there in that kitchen with its kitchen table, and somebody coming in the back door, because everything was unlocked, and coming into the kitchen, absolutely drunk, just drunk as a skunk. And all of them turning around and just saying, you know, kind of, shoo, shoo, this isn't your home, this is not where you need to be, and kind of getting the guy back out and stumbling his own way on, gave a nice sense of a pretty safe, friendly town. Nobody terribly worried about something like that. But probably he was a railroad worker, just from what she said about how he used that screened off back porch to change. In general, to take advantage of all this and not keep on throwing it away and drawing on old forest for new houses that maybe you don't need if you don't tear down the old ones.